Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I hope you had the time to grab your sandwich, grab your lunch, whatever it might be. I apologize for starting a couple of minutes late. Unfortunately, one of the houses near us has their house alarm going off, and it kind of startled everybody in the neighborhood, and they're not home. But we have checked; nobody's being broken into. But I do just apologize if there is any background noise from that. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully you'll be able to see it okay. Now, today we're going to be discussing Okta, and we're going to be talking about the ways in which that we can actually make SAML work harder for us and make it do more, in terms of our provisioning, deprovisioning, changes of access levels, pretty much you name it, we can make it do it in Okta, and really just delivering more value from maybe the existing integrations that you've already invested in. Now, if you do have any questions during today's session, because I know it's only 20-30 minutes, please feel free to shout them out whenever you have a question. You can either do it in the chat window or the question window. Either way is fine, and I'll see them both, so don't worry. So Okta is really the foundation for secure connections between pretty much anybody and anything, whether that's employees and applications, remote workers and mobile devices, partners and the portals that they'll use, and also customers and your products and services. So you can see that Okta is pretty much the secure foundation for connections between anybody and anything, no matter what type of person that is, whether they're a worker, an employee, a customer, a remote worker, and the technology that they need on a day-to-day basis. Now, Okta's Identity Cloud is hosted in a great way because it's entirely modular. So you can choose the pieces that you want to focus on that you will find useful and kind of disregard the rest. Now, most of our kind of services hook around our universal directory and our single sign-on modules. And a lot of what we're going to be discussing today also falls under the lifecycle management piece. Now, when we're talking about single sign-on, it's nothing new. I think most people are used to, in some way, having somewhere where they can go to and then have access to all of the portals, services, applications that they use on a day-to-day basis from one place. Now, the way that Okta improves upon this kind of normal notion of SSO is by leveraging its universal directory. Now, Universal Directory is amazing because it allows you to create one profile for a particular user, and that can be taken straight from their Active Directory profile. And then it maps all of the other end user accounts that that user has, whether it's in an application, in an API, whether it's remote access to a server, and everything can be listed underneath that one profile, which makes it much easier to administrate. And also gives you a little bit of a master management place, one place to go for everything about a particular user. Now, with lifecycle management, we can take this one step further. Rather than just having one single user profile for somebody, any particular user, we can actually automate the lifecycle of that profile as well. And not only that particular Okta user, but their Active Directory credentials and also all of those end accounts and application accounts that they might also have access to. Now, what this allows you to do is really reduce the amount of time it takes you to set up a new user. If they move or change roles, get a promotion, move teams, then you can automate that as well just by changing their role either in Active Directory or Okta. Or if you have a HR suite that you use heavily, then that's a great way as well to implement HR as a master with Okta and actually have, something like Workday saying, okay, this person has moved departments, and then having all of their access changed based on that. Now, when somebody leaves, it will automatically deprovision that account as well, which You would be surprised the number of businesses we go into where there are accounts that have been kind of left stagnant for several years. And obviously, that's a real security loophole, especially if they're not being, monitored and looked at. So we definitely recommend to actually leverage the lifecycle management for that leaver process. Now, we can also provide secure access to APIs, and even if you do want to sign into servers themselves with Okta Access Gateway, we can actually kind of create a secure link rather than using like a web access firewall. And that's a much more kind of robust and modern way for you to actually have access into servers, or if you do need to just, access an application on that server, then you can do that too. Our multi-factor is amazing as well because it's not just a static kind of on or off type of process. We have adaptive roles and policies that can be kind of customized to suit you. Now, this can be based on location or device type, or even just access time. And so if there is any unusual access, it will go ahead and prompt for a second factor to make the user confirm that it is them, and also give you that, step up elevation of access. And you can even do it around kind of critical applications or priority applications, because often, maybe you don't mind if somebody wants to get into their email from home, but maybe you don't want to allow them access to your CRM or maybe your finance applications or whatever it might be from their home computer. So you want to make sure that they are on a particular device, or even, make them supply a code, a token, soft token, hard token, or even a text message token, just to say, yes, this is me. We also have a whole host of developer SDKs, which are really useful if you are building your own applications in-house, whether they're on-premise, cloud, or web apps. And it really just allows developers to focus on what they're really kind of passionate about, which is building the application and not necessarily about identity and authentication. Now, all of these great modules provide real value for IT and hopefully drive a much more productive workforce by reducing IT costs and enhancing security across all different devices, whether those are company managed or not. You can prevent access from non-company managed devices, shall I say, sorry, or even allow access but only through the Okta portal. So nobody can, sign into that application just by going, for example, Office 365. They can't just go to Office 365 and sign in with their business account on their personal computer. Now, of course, when you are looking at hosting your identity on the cloud, you want to make sure that it is at least secure and always up, always on. And Okta is the industry's most reliable and secure platform. It's SOC 2 Type 2 tested, CSA Star, ISO 27001, 27018, HIPAA, and FedRAMP compliant. I normally say if it's good enough for the US government, it's probably good enough for your day-to-day use in terms of security. And it also shows, how confident Okta is in their platform as well. Now, the way that we integrate into your existing Active Directory or LDAP directories is by actually deploying something called an Okta Active Directory agent. Now, this is extremely lightweight and it takes only a few minutes to set up. Now, what this does is it talks on the outbound web port. So there's usually no firewall changes needed or anything kind of tricky with your networking. And it will suck up all of the credentials inside of AD and send those into the Okta Universal Directory, along with any other profile attributes, group attributes, etc. that you want to supply. We can build in high availability by deploying out several of these onto your Active Directory servers. And so if there are any peak times, maybe 8:30, 5 to 9, around those times, you'll end up with a lot of people signing in. We can handle that level of authentication and also make sure that nobody's sign-on times are impacted based on that. We did actually have one particular company when we started working with them with Okta, where in the morning, if you try to sign in bang on 9 o'clock, you would end up waiting up to 15 minutes to actually authenticate, which, as you can imagine, if you're heading to a meeting or if you're jumping onto a call at 9, would be very frustrating. Now, Okta really is a platform for complete scale with the most reliable identity as a service platform available. We never take you offline for upgrades or changes, and we are completely redundant and scalable. Now, we're so confident in our kind of reliability, we actually post our figures on okta.com/trust, which you can take a look at and see in 15-minute increments, whether we're up, down, or shaking it all around. So just to recap, before I actually jump into some authentications via Okta, Okta is born and built in the cloud. It's always been a cloud-first platform. We connect anyone to anything, and we're completely agnostic in terms of application vendor or platform, where whether you're running on-prem or cloud or hybrid. So we really preserve your choice. We've also become the vendor of choice for other identity service providers, which I always think really shows a lot about the product itself. We have a single simple interface which crosses mobile, web, and desktop SSO, which provides secure and reliable authentication across AD, servers, web apps, you name them. And we've been proven to be scalable for many, many years now, and we've got some of the largest businesses using Okta for their employee and customer identity, people like MGM, Adobe, and more. We can also really help future-proof your IAM choice. I don't think it's any surprise that, obviously cloud is going to be a rising kind of area in most businesses. And so having something that is automatically kind of easily to plug in with that is going to be really important in terms of deployment times. We have a really focused and passionate community. In fact, Okta SKO sales kickoff was Tuesday, yes. Forgot now, it seems like a lifetime ago. And there were so many different partners and Okta employees there, and you can really see the passion that was there. Of course, it'd be nicer in person, but given the current circumstances, it was still great to see everybody online, and everyone is just so passionate about identity, whether that's employee identity, customer identity, or really just data security and ownership of that. And of course, we're always on, always there. We've never been down since I've started working with Okta, which is at least 3 or 4 years. And I'm reliably informed by some sales engineers that I work with that it was for many years before that as well. But of course, you can see for yourself on okta.com/trust. Okay, so let me jump out of the slides there. I'll just check if there's any questions. Okay, don't worry. I know you're probably eating your sandwiches, so don't worry about not kind of being too chatty. We can always take questions at the end, and maybe you'll have eaten by then and have more to say. So this is the Okta platform when we're accessing it through the URL, through the web. Now we also can provide desktop SSO or single sign-on on mobile devices, iPods, well, we could do it on an iPod, an iPad, iPhone, Android devices. There's no difference to Okta, so I'm happy to push your security policies and make sure that people are signing in securely across mobile and kind of physical devices. I mean, desktop devices. Now, I'm just going to jump into my actual demo suite, and it's going to go ahead and prompt me for an extra factor because I'm working from home. And it's going to say, hey, I want to send a push notification through to your phone. And I'm going to say on my phone, yes, that was me. And what's really nice is we can actually leverage the existing technology of the kind of most current devices, such as Face ID, biometric fingerprint scanning. You can actually use that in Okta Verify, which is a soft token application similar to Google Authenticator, or there's lots of other authenticator apps out there. And it provides you a really nice way of kind of, again, just giving yourself the extra layer of security. So for example, in Okta Verify currently, we have it configured so that you have to either verify using Face ID or your fingerprint to actually get the token. So even if you had the phone, it was unlocked, you wouldn't be able to get the token without being that person. It's really good, especially if you, well, I was going to say, like me, travel to London and kind of surrounding areas a lot, and I'm constantly putting my phone places and then going, oh my God, where have I put my phone? So it's great to have that extra layer of security that even if somebody did grab my device or try to get in, that they wouldn't be able to get into any business level kind of access. Now I'm in my Okta org, that's what we call our instance of Okta. And you can see I've got a notification. I've been assigned a new application. Now the notifications panel in Okta is great because you can push messages out to end users. I know that everybody's probably familiar with just sending out a group email saying, hey, this application is going to be down between X and Y because we're upgrading it or whatever. But often people forget, or they just go ahead, delete the email and forget all about it. And then all of a sudden, you're inundated with service desk requests saying, hey, I can't access this application, when you've already told them it will be down. This provides you a much easier way of communicating and keeping it in their minds that, okay, you're not going to be able to access this for a little while, and just let you know kind of what's going on. Now I have access to all of my different applications. You can see I have a whole host of different ones, and I can actually group them into different tabs here. Now I can also go ahead and change some of my personal settings, which is a really great way of delivering a little bit more self-service back out to your users. So if they need to do things like change their last name because they've got married, or perhaps update their contact information, their location, their address, or maybe their mobile number, they're able to do that here. And they can also set up extra factors such as Okta Verify, like I was talking about, a security key, or Google Authenticator here. Now, Okta can also provide self-service password resets and account unlocks, and that can be fed back into AD as well. So if their AD account gets locked, then they can unlock it using Okta as well. And again, that really reduces the amount of requests and time that service desks have to spend on those types of things. Now I'm just going to sign on into a couple of different applications here just to show you the flow. And of course, these are all SAML applications. And what's great is that a lot of SAML applications now have been automatically integrated to the Okta Integrations Network, or OIN. And what that means is that it's literally just a couple of clicks to set them up. And we also provide full step-by-step guides on what information you need, how to do it, what you need to do in the app, and what you need to do in Okta. So it's a really nice, easy way to deploy. Now I'm just going to open Slack as well, why not? And you can see again, it's referring me into the web app. And here we are. Now, another way that I really recommend to implement SAML into your business is to customer identity as well. Now, I just actually made a little Okta app myself of my MGM account, which is their MLife program. Now, MGM are one of the largest users of Okta. And if I jump into here, I should be signed in. Okay, there we go. No points, nothing fun, unfortunately. My account is no use to anyone. Now, what I can do is as I move around the different resorts in MGM, I'll stay signed in across all of their different resorts. Now, even if I go into another location, it doesn't have to just be their Vegas resorts, then you'll see that I will stay signed in. So let's open a few here. Let's do MGM Springfield. Let's do, why does that make me think of The Simpsons every time? Let's go to the Luxor. Just making my holiday list, shall we say. Let's go to a boutique hotel. That sounds wonderful. Okay. And as you can see, I'm still signed in. It says Grace up here. And that way, not only is it nice for me to be able to move around all of these different MLife affiliated hotels and resorts with ease and being able to collect all of these points centrally onto my account, it also means that MGM can get a lot more information about me as a person and also what I like to do. So, for example, most of the time, if I've ever been to an MGM resort, it's normally for work, and that will be, for Octane, which is often in Vegas, or some of the Splunk events as well. Now, I was lucky enough to actually see Chris Angel at the Luxor when it was going on last. That's a while back now. But I actually used my real M Life account there. And so even though I was staying in a different hotel, MGM knew that I had been to the Luxor to see Chris Angel because I'd bought the ticket through their platform. And they also knew what drinks I'd bought while I was there and all of these different things, which builds up a much better profile of that end user. And also you can harvest that information for further marketing or just getting to understand your customer base better. So I put my teeth in, etc. So it's a really nice way of delivering back a much nicer kind of experience for that end user. The login button changes on different pages, which makes it a little bit confusing, but it's still there, still signed in. And it also, again, means that they can harvest a lot of information about me, which is great for building up better profiles of your users. So I realized that we're probably coming up to the time that we had booked today, but I just wanted to know if there was any questions about Okta itself. Of course, if you'd like to see a more in-depth demonstration, then please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to go ahead and pop my email in the chat window. So please feel free to reach out if you have any further questions that maybe you don't want to raise today or you think of, or maybe your team think of, or if you even have a question of, can Okta do this? Then please feel free to reach out. You don't have to be a current customer of ours. Just let me know what you're looking to do and I can let you know yay or nay. If you do want to see a kind of more in-depth demo or potentially get more hands-on with Okta, take a look at our other workshops and webinars. And if I just jump onto our website here, they're completely free of charge. Just come up to events at the top. And then you can come down to the Okta workshops and webinars. We run free hands-on workshops, which will literally put you hands-on with Okta. You'll create applications, you'll create workflows, you'll do server access here, and also a whole host of webinars like you're on today. The next one we have is on the 22nd of March, and this is a really great one for anybody who's looking for true interoperability, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it's great to see the three technologies, Splunk, Okta, and Netskope working together to provide a full, secure platform. So I'll go ahead and give some time for questions if you haven't already jumped off. If you are getting ready to jump off, thank you so much for spending some of your lunch break with me, and I appreciate your time today. I hope that you've learned something new. And again, my email address is just in the chat window there, so please feel free to reach out. And if not, I hope to see you on one of our other workshops or webinars in the future. Thank you so much and take care.